Thank you, President Craig. Good afternoon, fellow Rotarians and guests. It's my pleasure today to introduce the commander of the Royal Canadian Air Force 16 Wing, located at Base 4. Before I get into the introduction, I just want to have a comment that Colonel Godbout made a special comment to me at the beginning of the meeting. He wanted me to let everyone know that he had a very safe and comfortable ride from the base in his staff car, which happens to be a Hyundai Sonata. just part of the
Is that part of the four-base
It's fruit and part of the thing. In any case, Colonel Pascal Godbout is currently responsible for the oversight of the Canadian Forces School of Aerospace Technology and Engineering, the RCAF Academy, and the Canadian Forces School of Aerospace Control Operations. Now, in the Canadian military, senior command appointments are managed by a command team. So also joining us today is the other half of the 16 Wing Command Team, Chief Warrant Officer Lisa Hardy. Thank you, Lisa, for joining us today. Colonel Godbout joined the Canadian Forces as a Communications and Electronics Engineering Officer and obtained his commission in 1995 after graduating from the Royal Military College in Saint Jean. He was given the opportunity to command inspiring teams of professionals at every stage of his career, in Kingston, Afghanistan, Cold Lake, North Bay, and now here in Gordon. He has worked as staff appointments at the National Defense Headquarters and with the Reserve. He has also had the privilege of serving as an instructor at the Canadian Forces College, as well as the Canadian Forces School of Communication and Electronics. The Colonel has worked in support of NORAD operations on 4 separate tours of duty, culminating with his most recent tour in Colorado Springs as the Joint Cyber Center Deputy Director, where he also served as one of the Deputy NORAD and U.S. NORTHCOM Command Center Directors. Colonel Godbout holds a Master of Arts in Defense Management and Policy from the Royal Military College of Canada and has a Master's in Business Administration from Athabasca University. He is also a graduate of the NATO Defense College Senior Course. Now, in a recent conversation with the commander, he indicated that he has loved every career opportunity he has been offered. He listed his top 5. First, commanding inspiring teams of professionals at every stage of his career, helping defend North American airspace, teaching and learning from his students, deploying to Afghanistan with the Joint Single Regiment, and supporting the cadet movement. Will you please join me in welcoming 16 Wing Commander Colonel Pascal Godbout.
Well, President Craig, thank you very much for inviting us to speak today, Chief Master Hardy and I. Honorary Colonel Emeritus Williams, thank you. Honorary Colonel Lorimer, there you are. Thank you very much. Members of the Rotary Club, guests, pleasure to be here. So this year marks a very special anniversary for 16 Wing. It marks 25 years in Gordon and in such a welcoming community as Simcoe County. And we feel privileged to be here to be able to share with you the journey of 16 Wing, the accomplishment of our members, and how proud we are to be part of this community. Let's see if the technology works. Awesome. So since it was reformed in 1993, the composition of the wing has changed several times. The training we've been asked to deliver has evolved over the years. But there's one thing that has been consistent, and that's the dedication and professionalism of the members of the wing. I'm constantly impressed by our team, the impact they've had, and of the ones that came before us. And thanks to their efforts, we graduate 3,000 students each year at 16 Wing. Now, if anybody's quick with math, I said 1993, and yet we're celebrating our 25th anniversary. We'll get to that in a minute. So why Gordon? Well, the selection of Gordon is not coincidence. First, our largest training establishment for the RCAF is right here in Gordon, the Canadian Forces School of Aerospace Technology and Engineering. But most importantly, Camp Gordon was the birthplace of the RCAF, and yet we did not have a wing here. So it was only fitting that we came. And Camp Borden has a history of training. Since 1917, even before the birth of the RCAF, we've had air crews and ground crews training right here in Borden. In fact, when the RCAF was formally established in 1924, half of RCAF personnel were stationed in Borden. In World War II, the British Common Welfare Training Plan was established, and the first school was set up in Borden in July 1940, and over 2,700 pilots received their wings. And as global flying training increased in the 50s, they started bringing back the technical training from all the wartime schools right back in Borden. Over the years, amalgamations occurred, and eventually in 1985, we ended up with the creation of the Canadian Forces School of Aerospace Technology and Engineering, CFSA, which bears its name and mandate to this day. And that brings us to 1993, with the rebirth of 16 Wing, which was used to be a reserve wing, and its move to Borden. So in 1993, Air Command decided it wanted to establish 2 centers of excellence for training for Air Command. They established 16 Wing in Saint-Jean-sur-Richelieu. But then in 1994, we had the Defense Establishment Review. Saint-Jean was assigned to the Army, and the decision was made to move us to Borden for the reason we've explained. Hence, the 25th anniversary this year. Now, the wing has been extremely successful over the years. Part of that is thanks to the successive command teams that I want to acknowledge today, their vision and ability to carry out their mandate. 16 Wing is unique in that it is one of the only wings that has consistently had support trades, i.e. non-air crews, in command of the wing. Many of our former wing commanders have continued on to have very successful careers, achieving the rank of general officer, and taking on influential positions within the Department of National Defense. I want to acknowledge Brigadier General Garbutt, who retired in 2016 as the Director General of Air Force Development, Brigadier General Kowal, who retired in 2013 as the Director General of Military Career, and is now serving his second term as the Principal at Royal Military College. We have Major General Madawa, who retired in 2017, very recently, as the Chief of Program, and finally, Brigadier General Thompson, who is now appointed as the Director General of Military Career. But no command team succeeds without assistance. We have a program called the RCAF Honorary Colonel Program. And each command team has relied on the advice and the support of the Honorary Colonel to achieve their goals. Our Wing Honorary Colonels have been great advisors and supporters of the Wing, helping us connect with the community. We have Honorary Colonel Janice Laking, Honorary Colonel Rob Warman, Honorary Colonel Pete Lorimer, Honorary Colonel Bill Coyle, and now serving Honorary Colonel Rennie Venkat. And each of our units within the wing also has an Honorary Colonel appointed. And we had the privilege that Honorary Colonel Jim Williams as the Honorary Colonel for the RCAF Academy. This program helps us connect with the community, advocate for the needs of our members, and provides us sound advice from other industries with regards to overcoming the leadership challenges that we face at our wing and at our units. But we have another group, quite unique, 16 Wing Fellowship, which has been key to our success. It was established in 2010 by then Colonel Phil Gardner, and it basically expands on the concept of the Honorary Colonel Program. The fellowship brought together like-minded individuals to assist 16 Wing in connecting with locally engaged stakeholders and the broader community, organizations such as the Rotary Club, so we can mutually assist each other and contribute to the welfare of the men and women of 16 Wing. Now, the fellowship started with 12 remarkable people, former honorary colonel, a former mayor, business leaders, and community leaders. And today we're very thankful for 11 active members who are engaged with our wing, provide continuity in maintaining a healthy relationship with the region where our members and their families live, work, and play. Now, I know that we have Jim and Pete as part of our active fellows right now. Do we have any other fellows that are in the room that I didn't get a chance to see? There we go. Thank you very much. Thanks for being here today. So, there's a group that I haven't talked about yet. The members of 16 Wing. We would never overcome the challenges on our path and achieve so many successes without their dedication and their professionalism and the sacrifices that they've been willing to make. And as importantly, the support of their families. If you've never been in the military, it's hard to explain the challenges that the military family goes through, and I'll come back to that at the end of our presentation. And I'm always thankful for the support of spouses and children of our military members. The wing has evolved. It's changed. And 10 years ago, the Air Force formed the 2nd Canadian Air Division, dedicated only to the training and education of our staff members. With this formation, 16 Wing was assigned additional units, and then we went through a functional review, and these units were reassigned to other organizations. And I want to acknowledge them today. We had the Canadian Forces School of Survival and Aeromedical Training that was with us until 2017. The Canadian Forces School of Aerospace Studies, now called the Barker College, with us on school until 2017. And finally, the Canadian Forces School of Search and Rescue, that was with us until 2018. It was a pleasure to have them as part of the wing, and we wish them well with their new organization. So today, this is our wing. Interesting enough, those 3 training establishments have been with us for the past 25 years. They all have very different vision. One focused on aircraft maintenance and engineering. Another is the leadership school for all NCMs in the RCAF. And the third one, located in Cornwall, provides aerospace control operations for all of the Canadian Forces. But the changes to the organizations is not the main evolution that the wing has undergone in the past 25 years. Our motto is to learn, to perfect, and to excel. And when I look at the organizational, technical, and operational changes that have taken place over the years, I never cease to be amazed at the adaptiveness and ingenuity of our people in overcoming these challenges rapidly with very limited resources. And I'll take you through this. First, we'll talk about CFSA, the School of Aerospace, Technical, and Engineering, that made major changes to its training delivery. When we moved from 12 technical trades to only 3, the unit had to rapidly turn around, adapt its syllabus, and deliver training. And they had to increase the number of instructors on site. So they leverage alternate service delivery, taking major contract with industry to augment instructors on site rapidly, as well as a contract with the École Nationale Aérotechnique from 2013 to 2018 near Saint-Hubert to be able to increase the number of francophones that were able to do training. So people would not have to wait years to do their technical training. The school has always innovated. Back in 1998, they introduced computer-based training as well as distance learning. For the military, that was pretty radical at the time. In 2004, they embraced power learning assessment. And the idea for that is we wanted to recognize semi-skilled applicants that joined the forces. So we would put them through the entire area of military training and recognize the prior qualifications that they had. We now have 21 participating community colleges that have been accredited and from who recognize the training that has been gained there. And finally, in the past 10 years, SIFSAFE has introduced an instructor development program to employ modern adult teaching techniques and provide coaching for instructors so we keep improving the training that we deliver. If you know someone who's considering a career in aerospace technology, I encourage you to have them look at the Canadian Forces, because the training that is provided is top-notch, and we have students that come from the industry that have taken training, and they recognize that the instructor ratio and quality of instruction is second to none. And now, SIFSAFE is still modernizing. We're introducing new tools. We have virtual reality painting simulators for our aircrafts, which improve the quality of instruction without having to wear all that hazmat gear. We have a power system powered task framework to provide easy access to the technology for the students to learn more easily in the early stage of the training. And the Canadian Advanced Scientific Environment Suite that provides hybrid classrooms. Cutting edge technology being brought to our classroom and continuing to evolve. SACO has also been very involved in evolving. I don't have to remind you of the tragic events of 9/11. For the military, it completely changed how we look at defending our airspace. The School of Aerospace Control and Operations had to adapt. Because up to 2002, the majority of air weapons control training was really academics and relied on air traffic control tools until they moved to 22 Wing in North Bay for their operational training unit. In the early days, the school really relied heavily on Transport Canada for simulators. But that changed. Over the past 15 years, the school modernized its training aids. We acquired new simulators for visual flight rules and instrument-based flight rules, as well as for air surveillance and control. Over the past 2 years, the school has completely retooled its suite of training tools with simulation programming that represents current operations, current operating bases, as well as an integrated training to improve stress management and mental health resilience for our candidates, which, if you're familiar with air traffic control and battlespace management, is an extremely stressful, demanding environment requiring timely response. In 2018, we acquired the 360-degree VFR air traffic control training suite. It's unreal. It looks exactly like you're sitting in a control tower at one of our operating bases. And we've also acquired the Battle Control System FIX, the very weapon system that is being used by NORAD to defend our airspace that we use to train our students, providing extremely realistic training. Great evolution, great training that is happening right now. And finally, the RCF Academy has also gone through significant changes. In 2017, we implemented the new primary leadership qualifications. This is how we train our junior leaders across the Canadian Forces. And we ensure that we're equipping our RCAF corporals and master corporals, our line supervisors and junior leaders, with the tools that they need to lead troops in modern operational environment that they can be exposed to in the RCAF. As well, our Academy delivers air environment qualification training across the RCAF, traveling across the bases, to ensure that we foster a common culture across our operational fleets and across our applications so that we fly information. So we're a training wing, but we still are required to support international and domestic operations. The way we do so is first we have our readiness training flight that ensures our members are ready to deploy on short notice and have all the required training. In fact, right now we have 4 members currently deployed in Mali for up presence, in Egypt for up Kelman, and in Kuwait for up impact. And we've deployed nearly 50 members in the past 3 years, augmenting other wings when they have shortages of personnel. From a military perspective, people may think, oh, it's a pretty good deal. You're in a training wing, you're teaching, steady hours. It's far less chaotic than our operational wing, where you don't know what the mission is going to be next. And for sure, the stability is good for the families, but the hours are demanding. For anybody who has ever taught before, you know that when the students are in the house, you have to park your own requirements aside and your own professional development aside. The hours can be extremely long, and they don't stop at 4 or 5 o'clock. You take your work home with you to be able to prepare the classes for the next day. So it is demanding on our members. There's less flexibility. And we've been operating in surge mode, so I have huge respect for our instructors and the sacrifices they've had to make. And I'm very thankful for the ones that are willing to step forward, volunteer to go on operations, and for their families and the sacrifices they have to make. But I'm also thankful for the ones that are staying behind, taking on the additional work, putting on the additional hours to make sure that we keep meeting our mandate. And the support that they provide to the families of the members of every group. So you can see I'm extremely proud of our team. The professionalism and everything they've done. done. In the adversity, the challenge that we face, they help bring the team together. They foster that esprit de corps. But we also do that through some more fun ways. Throughout the military, there's a big tradition of having family events and a lot of sporting events to bring that esprit de corps. And we keep doing that here, whether as a wing, individual units, or in larger events with the base. We'll also take the time to recognize our members for their achievements, whether it's through local awards or national awards. And for example, in 2016, the School of Aerospace Technology and Engineering established the first student council in the Canadian Forces. Now you know we're pretty regimented in the military, very hierarchical. Well, what that students council does is for a junior member that just joined the forces, have direct access to the chief warrant officer to raise concerns and observations that they have regarding the training, their living conditions, and propose improvements. And Aviator Erika Matlos, a member of the Student Council, was recognized by the Chief of Defense Staff himself, presented the Chief of Defense Staff commendation for her initiative related to improving the training for honor. But the team is also extremely connected with the community. I'm extremely thankful for the bond our wing has built with the Simcoe County region and the people that live here. We're honored to represent the RCAF in the region and ensuring that we pay respect to our past through significant commemorative events that are displayed here. This includes the annual Battle of Britain ceremony and Remembrance Day, which we commemorate in partnership with the City of Barrie. And I was deeply moved when I arrived here and I saw the contribution made by the City of Barrie, the Downtown Barrie Business Association, and Meridian in renovating Memorial Square. I thought it was such a fitting tribute to remember the people that have made the ultimate sacrifice. I was also amazed to hear of what 16 Wing has done, playing key roles in highlighting the Royal Flying Corps centenary and being front and center for the RCAF Colors Ceremony in Toronto. The RCAF made history in receiving the third stand of colors from the Governor General of Canada, His Excellency David Johnson. 120 members of the wing were on parade at Nathan Phillips Square in Toronto. A flawless execution that required tremendous practice. We also had several members of the wing participating with the RCAF contingent and perform public duties at Buckingham Palace. That was a first for the RCAF. And they did a fantastic job. Now, something that will resonate with this group, I believe, is that our wing connects with the community in many ways. We're proud supporters of the cadet program, and every year we host an Air Cadet Activity Day, where 120 staff and students from the wing volunteer to host nearly 600 cadets from the region with a fun-filled day of activities. We also have many officers and NCMs who volunteer as liaison officers or simply as general volunteers at cadet units in Simcoe County and in the Cornwall area to support the cadet movement. We team up with CFP Borden to support the Barrie Air Show and the CAF Appreciation Day. And we're also very honored to be able to support community groups such as the Barrie Christmas Cheer, food banks in both Simcoe County and the Cornwall area, and various volunteer organizations. Our members and their families have a strong ethos of service before self. They volunteer across the community, coaching with food banks, various service groups and volunteer organizations, and youth groups. And I'm proud of what they do in the hours they put in these programs. And we're really strongly promoting a safe and respectful training environment, as well as promoting inclusiveness and diversity. And our members really embrace these Canadian values, and they promote them daily through their words and their actions. In fact, today I wanted to acknowledge our wing chaplain, Captain John Knight, who's recently been nominated for a Person of the Year award by Simcoe Prize. But tireless work is done in the past 4 years in establishing the Borden Pride Network, which has offered support to CAF members of the LGBTQ+ community, promoted awareness, and empowerment to give back to the Simcoe County community and the Toronto community by helping other LGBT plus volunteer organizations, giving them a sense of identity and a sense of belonging. So in closing, the wing has changed a lot over the past 25 years. As an organization, we've expanded, we've contracted. The training we've delivered has evolved tremendously with changing operational structures, new platforms, more complex operational environment. But there's one thing that has remained constant: a highly professional team of aviators, as well as supportive families who've been key to our success and have had a positive and lasting impact in their community. I want to thank you for the service that you do for the community. I want to thank you for including us and helping us connect with the community. Now, when I go out and engage with folks, I'm often asked by supporters of the Canadian Forces is, how can we help? And the first thing I can tell you is that it makes such a difference when you arrive in a community such as Barrie and Simcoe County in general, and our people feel so welcome and so included. Right there, you're helping our people integrate in the community as we keep moving across Canada, and it makes a huge difference. And for that, thank you. As far as the challenges our families, our military families face, well, housing is always a challenge because they receive relatively short notice that they'll be moving, sometimes across Canada. They have a week to find a new place. Sometimes they don't know how long they're going to be there. And if they're looking to find a rental property, it can be a challenge. So if you know someone that works in a real estate market and is willing to support members looking for a rental property on short time to meet the unique needs of their families, encourage them to register with Brookfield. That's our current relocation provider. And they have a third-party service provider director. It's free, but it tells us that that's a real estate agent who's willing to work with members and assist them during their very short housing period. Spousal employment is a huge challenge and stress. A spouse relocate because it has a huge impact, of course, on quality of life, as you don't know what the budget's going to be like in the next place you move. Some people are hesitant to employ military spouses because they think, well, I don't know how long I'm going to have an employee. Military spouses bring a wealth of diverse experience, working in different industries, different environments, different parts of the country. Bring tremendous skills to any organization. So if a military spouse comes to your business, I encourage you, employ them, you won't regret it. Spouse and children education is always a concern for families. For spouses that are trying to upgrade their education, because they don't know how long they're going to be there, they're hoping to transfer credits from the previous area they were at, or they start taking a program to be able to transfer credits to the next institution they move to, or to be able to pursue programs to be a distance learner. If you're in the education business, programs that are flexible always a bonus for spouses. And for children, if you're a teacher, if you work in school administration, if you have kids in school, being a military child is tough. You keep getting shuffled around to different school systems, having to make new friends, say goodbye to old friends. Sometime every 2 years. So when you have a military kid that shows up in your classroom, they might be shy, they might be disruptive. Get to know them. Find out what makes them tick. Find out what's going on. Maybe one of their military parents is deployed. Maybe they've lost a military parent, unfortunately. And be patient. They'll impress you. They're tough, they're resilient, give them a chance to adapt. And if you have a military family moving to your neighborhood, keep doing what you're doing, be welcoming, wear praise. And the final challenge that their families face is always healthcare. Because every time they move, they move every 2 years, throughout the military careers, they keep going back in the queue to wait for a family doctor. It's just as they find a military doctor, they get their orders, they get told they're moving to a new town. And then they start the process again. So if you're in medicine, if you're a family care provider, and family comes by looking for a family doctor, please consider taking them on. So thank you very much for what you've done. Thank you for being so welcoming, and thank you once again for your service to the community. We greatly appreciate it. Chief Harvey and I are extremely pleased to be invited today. Pleasure to be here. Great honor to be in Borden and to be living in this community. Thank you.
Sorry, we have one question, I guess. Yes, go ahead, Rob.
It's a question or a story, sir. I've been operating the Queen's Hotel, which is a bar in downtown Barrie, for 46 years. And we understand that Base Borden is more or less a military university now, and you're training these young recruits. And I'd just like to tell you that a goodly number of your young recruits have had their first taste of combat at the Queen's Hotel. It's a mixing of the two cultures. The military culture is very recognizable by the short haircuts over the years. And you have the local culture, who are also very recognizable by various haircuts. Good-looking young lady, military, makes an advance, the local guy doesn't like it, and you have the triangle. So we can hire the muscle to look after the local people. How do you handle the military people? Because you mess with one, you mess with the whole platoon. So we have hired, with full knowledge of the base, military personnel in the training program. So these two guys work there full time, and they're on the door. If there's an incident, one flash of the credentials and a BART command, and you have never seen 4 or 5 or 6 young men snap to attention so quickly, and from there on it's yes sir, no sir. Problem solved. We love to see them. They turn over. There's lots of them, and they have money in their pocket. So the economic contribution that the base makes to this city, we appreciate it, and I in particular appreciate it very much.
That is a fantastic point, because Borden is a training base. Right? We have over 5,000 people on the base. It's a huge number. The base commander is Colonel Atherton. I take care of the wing with my 3 schools. He takes care of pretty much the rest. And sometimes he has colorful days, because the reality is that when you bring 18, 19-year-olds and introduce them to the forces, we're indoctrinating them into the military values and ethos and a professional decorum we expect of our members. And once in a while, one of them slips. We take military discipline very seriously. We have a robust military justice system that is fair, but there's many things that in civilian life you would get a frown and carry on with your life that we don't tolerate. And we hold the people accountable. They can be fined, they can be confined to barracks. We can even put them in detention if required. And we also have a counseling system. Some of these young people have had a rough life. They need some counseling to bring them back on the right path, and we do so. And if they don't listen to the sense, then we encourage them to pursue a different career. So, as we talked about, if there's an issue, report them to the police. The police will report them to us, or notify the base if there's been a problem, and we'll deal with it. But if people are engaging in unruly behavior, the best thing, if that happens anywhere in your community, is to call the police. The police will deal with it, and they'll refer the case to us, and we'll investigate and deal with them properly and promptly. Peter?
Colonel Beppo.
On control now.
Well, I have a couple of thank yous, actually. First, I'm going to start with Jim Williams. I gave him an abridged version of your intro, and he expanded on that. So thank you for taking all my notes. I will be flying by the seat of my pants here. Colonel Beppo, your speech was informative and interesting to listen to. Thank you. from knowing you and your interest and your leadership that you have shown is a fine example of why Canada has always said it punches above its own weight, and it's a world-class organization from the military community. So thank you for that. Lastly, I'd like to thank you for making the time today. I know your schedule is very dear, and not only you showing up, but Lisa, the Chief Warrant Officer, Lisa Harvey, showing up, the two of you coming in as a command team, which is something that other militaries are now adopting. Canada was the original brainchild of command teams, and I understand other militaries are now adopting it, and it's another innovation from our world-class organization. So thank you.
Thank you, Peter. I too would like to extend my thanks to you and your family for your service to Canada. It's incomprehensible to me the sacrifices that you've made, and we were talking briefly about some of the moving and that kind of stuff. So I really, really do appreciate everything you do and your fellow people. I would like to present you with a certificate. Rotary Club has made a donation in your name to help eradicate COVID.
Thank you very much.
So the next week's meeting, we're going to have the presentation is on Kevin Fest. The satellite meeting, there is a practice tonight, right? I think it's starting at the farmhouse, and then they're going to meet up for the practice after. So music connects the world. Apparently you like bagpipe music. Is that a rumor, or is that I don't know. I don't know if I would.
I like good back. Good.
I wasn't aware there was such a thing, but all right. Having served in the first wave of Operation Athena, I came up with this song to help stitch everything together with your talk today, and how music can play in part in that. So I'm going to read a second verse of this song, and it says, "I served with distinction, no vision of glory. I served without question or personal gain. I seek no justification, it's not part of my story, and it offers no comfort to the ones who remain." So that song is by the Trews. We're going to meet out in Military Park, and we're going to play the song. Thank you.